Good evening, Northern Colorado. This is Ron, K0AZA. Excuse me. I'm located in Fort Collins, and I'll be net control for tonight's NCARC TechNet. The purpose of the TechNet is to enlighten amateur radio operators on topics of a technical nature. We'll do our best to answer any technical questions for the benefit of all those who are listening. If there's a subject that has never been made quite clear to you, this is a great opportunity to find an answer. If anyone feels that they have information that will help regarding the subject, please give your call sign and net control. We'll call on you. This net may be interrupted at any time for emergencies or priority traffic. If you need to use the system for an emergency during the net, say break and give your call sign. We'll acknowledge you and suspend the net until you advise that you are clear. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? All licensed amateur radio operators with 70-centimeter privileges are encouraged to check into the net. NCARC club membership is encouraged but never required for participation. Check-ins are requested for the purpose of counting participation, and no checkout is required. This is K0AZA, net control for tonight's NCARC TechNet. When checking in, please give your call sign slowly, first alphabetically, then again using the ITU phonetic alphabet, along with your name and location. When checking in, please state if you'll have a topic that you'd like to discuss. Check-ins will be taken in groups of 3. When I've acknowledged the first group of 3, then I'll move on to the next group of 3. I'll start tonight by taking check-ins from Echolink. Anyone on Echolink with any suffixes, please call now. Hearing none, I'll take check-ins from call suffixes Alpha through Mike. Alpha through Mike, please call now.
Good evening, Ron. This is Kilo 0, Hotel Alpha Kilo K0 HAK, Dave in Fort Collins.
W0 LEI Whiskey 0 Lima Echo India Chad in Stout.
KF0GQH Kilo Foxtrot 0 Golf Quebec Hotel Kent in Wellington.
Let's hold up there a moment. The net acknowledges K0HAK, W0LEI, and KF0GQH. There was somebody that doubled with Kent. Could the doubling station come back, please?
Would be K3SAD, Kilo 3, Sierra Alpha Delta, George in Windsor.
Thanks, George. I've got you. Let's take the next 3 check-ins. Suffixes Alpha through Mike, please.
Whiskey Alpha 7 Echo Mike, Ed and Erie.
KF0 LBS Kilo Foxtrot 0 Lima Delta Sierra Normal and Night
Golf Marty Wellington.
Let's hold up there. I've got WA7EM, Ed, KF0LDS, and K0MLG. Next group of 3, please.
0EXV Kilo Delta 0 Echo X-Ray Victor Brian Greer.
The net acknowledges KD0EXV. Let's go ahead and open it up for anybody. All suffixes, please call now.
This is N0 NYY November 0 November Yankee Flirt 11 shooting.
This is KA2AUZ Kilo Alpha 2 Alpha United Zulu Paul and Milliken.
This is KF0 ODD Kilo Foxtrot 0 Oscar Delta Delta Paul in Perfect.
That acknowledges M0NYY, KA2AUZ, and KF0ODD. Let's take again any suffixes, please call out.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Oscar Charlie Whiskey, Adrian in Fort Collins.
This is KB0YBN Kilo Bravo 0 Yankee Delta November Eric Loveland.
This is K0ARD Kilo 0 Alpha Romeo Delta, Ann in Fort Collins.
let's hold up there. Adrian, I missed the last letter of your call sign. Could you come back with that, please?
Whiskey was the last thing I said in my call sign.
Thanks, Adrian. The net acknowledges KF0OCW, KV0YDN, and K0ARD. Hi, Ann. Next group of 3, please. W5VV, Whiskey 5, Victor Victor, Bill, Mobile, Fort Collins. The net acknowledges AE0CF and W5VV. Well, let's go ahead and move on. If there's any other check-ins, I'll take them a bit later. Nobody said they had a topic for tonight. Is there anybody that has a question or topic? Going once.
OCW, I have a question.
Adrian, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
What would be a good coax for making a small handheld antenna at home?
Just to clarify, Adrian, you're talking about the coax that would go from your radio to a handmade antenna to connect them. Is that correct?
I mean, like the actual antenna part.
Okay. So, Adrian, are you thinking about making a like a handheld Yagi antenna, something you could point, or more of an omnidirectional? Did you have something specific in mind?
I mean, like just a general handheld antenna, like something a little better than the rubber duckies, but one that's not always going to hit me in the face like the one that I usually have on my radio.
Anybody out there with more expertise in handmade antennas than I?
Why, Dan?
Go ahead, Eric.
Let me make this turn first. There are several types of antennas you can make, starting with coax, and a couple you can buy that will save you the trouble. One of the ones you can make is just using the center conductor and bringing it out to about 17 inches from where you stop the shield. So stop the shield maybe an inch above the connector that goes onto your handheld, and then 17 inches from there. You can argue anything from 17 to 19 inches, I suppose. Bart probably can give you an exact velocity factor corrected number for a quarter wave. That is one choice of antenna. Let me drop it. Another possibility of an antenna, and this is one I thought a lot about, but it takes a lot of fiddly fingers to deal with, is something called a coaxial sleeve dipole. And to do that, you take, by an astonishing coincidence, about 1 meter of coax, maybe a little more, strip the insulation off that 17 inches, and then work the braid loose and run it back so it is folding over the coax, not adjacent to, but over the coax, all the way down. And you will have a vertically polarized dipole as you hold the antenna vertically, and the coax braid over the outside of the coax feeder to the center becomes both a balun and part of the antenna. KB0YDN, back to net.
I see. Well, thank you for the information. I'm definitely going to see if I can build a antenna myself with some, with those tips.
Just as an aside, the very first antenna I built was a 19-inch piece of piano wire using shrink tubing, lots and lots of shrink tubing to make it fit into a BMC connector for RG8 or RG58, and also on the top so I didn't stab myself in the eye or something. CB0YD on deck tonight.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm KF0OCW back to that.
Echo Mike.
Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, good evening. I don't have specific dimensions or something, but a general observation, any kind of flexible antenna on an HT is missing half the antenna. You know, an antenna to be complete needs both sides of the dipole, and a rubber duck of any size is only half. You know, it's the one connected to the center of the connector on your radio, and it'll be a lot better if you have an equal size running downward. There are some for sale where it's just a wire that hangs down towards your feet, and it's connected to the ground side of the antenna connector, but that's a good step forward. It may not be mechanically real comfortable when you're using it, but it'll make your antenna a full dipole instead of a dipole where half of it's missing. WA7EM.
Let me make sure I have this. Thanks, Ed. You're actually a perfect lead into the question that I was going to ask as a follow-on to Adrian's, is if you're making an antenna akin to what Eric had said, with 17 inches of the center conductor, presumably you could just leave a part of the braid and solder on a wire as your as the other half of the antenna, if you will. So, Adrian, that might be an interesting experiment, would be to try it initially without that piece of wire connected to ground, and then add the ground and see what difference it makes.
YDN.
Go ahead.
The coaxial sleeve dipole that I described in my first statement, that one is a full meter long and is a dipole with the outer element coming down 17 inches over the coax that feeds it in the middle. So you'd actually have the braid coming down almost, but not touching the connector on the HT, and then the center going up for about 17 inches. And it's a little fiddly to do that, but that's the goal of the coaxial sleeve dipole.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything to add to this topic?
Wait, check-in.
Go ahead.
Yeah, N0EMP, November 0, Echo Mike Papa, Greg in Fort Collins with Debbie, K0DBE, Kilo 0, Delta Bravo Echo. No traffic.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate the check-in. Okay, Adrian, did that answer your questions?
So I didn't catch most of it because I was in the bathroom. I thought that we were done. So what exactly were you saying?
No, just making sure we answered your questions adequately. Did we give you enough information that you can run with it?
Earlier on, yes, I did get some good information for that, so thank you for that.
Fantastic. If you build something, maybe you can come back and tell us about it. We'd be interested. Okay, any other topics for tonight's TechNet?
Wait, check-in.
Go ahead.
Kilo, Foxtrot 0, Oscar, Delta, Oscar.
And could I get your name and where you're located, please? Yeah, KF0ODO. Could I get your name and where you're located, please?
Jack in Windsor, Colorado.
Great. Thanks, Jack, and welcome to the net. This is K0AZA, net control for the Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club Weekly TechNet. Are there any other late check-ins, additional comments, questions, or discussion? Well, we'll make it a short evening. Hearing none, this concludes the NCARC TechNet. Net Control would like to thank each station for their participation. We had a total of, and I haven't added up the number yet, I'll do that in a second, and to get back to you in a second. This net will occur again next Monday at the same time on this repeater. This is K0AZA closing the net at 1822 and returning the repeater to normal operation. 73, and good night, everyone.
This presentation was brought to you by the Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club. For more information, visit our website, ncarc.net. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.